I took David's hands in mine and looked him directly in the eyes. "I want you to go on that trip," I said firmly. "What?" "The tropical island fantasy. I want you to do it. Take a week off, go somewhere, decompress." "Sarah, I can't just—" "Yes, you can. You need to. Your body is literally rejecting the stress. You're throwing up, David. That's not normal. That's not sustainable." "But you're pregnant and the kids—" "Will be fine. My mom can help. Your mom can help. We'll figure it out." He shook his head. "I can't leave you when you're 7 months pregnant. What if something happens? Then I'll call you and you'll come home. But nothing's going to happen, and you need this." We went back and forth for a while. He kept protesting, listing all the reasons he couldn't possibly take time off, and I kept insisting that he could and should. Finally, he said something that surprised me. "I'll only go if we go together." "What?" "A vacation. Together. Just you and me, like we used to when we first got married. Drop the kids at your mom's, take a week off, go somewhere. Be a couple instead of just parents for a little while." I started to protest. "I'm 7 months pregnant. Traveling isn't exactly comfortable." But then I saw his face. This was the first thing he'd shown genuine interest in for months. "Okay, when?" "After things clear up a bit, before the baby comes, maybe in a few weeks. Somewhere quiet, somewhere with a beach, somewhere we can just exist without responsibilities." "That sounds perfect." He squeezed my hands. "And maybe I should take tomorrow off, call in sick, just sleep in, do nothing." "I think that's a great idea." "My boss will think it's suspicious. I never take sick days." "Then it's definitely time you took one. I'll call him tomorrow morning and say you have a migraine. They can survive one day without you." For the first time in months, I saw the ghost of a smile on David's face. Not a full smile, but the beginning of one. "A migraine? It's not a COVID symptom if it's isolated." I Googled it. He actually huffed out a small laugh. It was brief, barely there, but it was a laugh. "You Googled migraine symptoms so you could lie to my boss for me? I'm an excellent wife." "You really are." We sat there for a moment, just holding hands and breathing together. "I'm sorry I became a robot," he said softly. "I'm sorry I didn't realize sooner how much you were struggling." "It's not your fault. I hid it. On purpose. I got really good at hiding it." "Too good." "Yeah." "David, I need you to promise me something." "Okay." "Promise me that you'll talk to me when you're struggling. I know you think you're protecting me by keeping it to yourself, but you're not. You're hurting both of us. I'd rather know you're having a hard time than watch you disappear." He nodded slowly. "I promise to try. It's going to be hard. I'm not used to sharing that stuff." "I know, and I'm not expecting you to suddenly be perfect at it, but just try. When you're feeling overwhelmed, tell me. When the stress is too much, tell me. When you fantasize about running away, tell me. We'll figure it out together." Together. Like he was testing out the word. That's what partners do. It's not all on you, David. It never was. I know you feel like you have to carry everything, but you don't. We carry it together. What if I can't do it? What if I can't change? Then we'll get you help. Therapy, medication, whatever you need. But you don't have to white-knuckle your way through life anymore. You don't have to be a robot. He leaned his forehead against mine. I miss being myself. I miss enjoying things. I miss playing with the kids without feeling like it's a chore. I miss wanting to be intimate with you instead of just doing it because I think I should. Then let's work on getting that back. It's not going to happen overnight, but we'll get there. What if the baby comes and everything gets worse? Then we'll deal with it together. And we'll make sure you have time for yourself. We've already decided, after this conversation, we're implementing a daily daddy time. An hour or two where you do whatever you want. Read, play games, watch TV, take a nap, whatever. No kids, no me, no work. Just you. An hour or two every day? Sarah, that's not realistic. It absolutely is. You take an hour for yourself, I'll take an hour for myself, and we'll both be better parents and partners for it. This isn't selfish, David. This is necessary. He was quiet for a long time. Then he said, Okay. Okay? Okay. I'll try. All of it. The vacation, the taking time for myself, the talking to you when I'm struggling. I'll try. That's all I'm asking. We stayed like that for a while, just holding each other. I could feel some of the tension leaving his body, like he'd been holding himself rigid for so long that he'd forgotten how to relax. Eventually, we heard the sound of my mom's car in the driveway, bringing the kids home. David pulled back and wiped his eyes. I probably look like a mess. You look human. The kids will understand. Actually, I paused. What do you say we actually play with them tonight? Like, really play, not just going through the motions. He looked uncertain. I don't know if I can just flip a switch and suddenly be fun dad again. You don't have to be fun dad. Just be present dad. Be there with them, in the moment. Don't think about anything else. Just be. I can try. We went downstairs together and opened the door as Emma and Tyler came tumbling in, full of energy and stories about their time at Grandma's. Daddy! Emma ran up to him. Grandma let us have ice cream for dinner. Instead of his usual neutral acknowledgement, David got down to her level, really looked at her. Ice cream for dinner? That sounds amazing. What flavor? Chocolate. And Tyler got vanilla, but he got it all over his face. Did not, Tyler protested. And then David did something I hadn't seen him do in months. He made a silly face at Tyler, scrunching up his nose and crossing his eyes. Tyler burst out laughing. It was such a small thing, such a simple gesture, but it brought tears to my eyes because it meant David was still in there. The goofy, playful man I'd married was still in there, buried under all that stress and responsibility. He just needed permission to come back out. The next morning, David's alarm went off at 7 a.m. like it always does. I heard him reach for his phone to turn it off. Then, he did something he hasn't done in months. He went back to sleep. I slipped out of bed quietly and called David's boss, just like I promised. Hi, this is Sarah, David's wife. I'm calling because David woke up with a severe migraine this morning and won't be able to come in today. Oh no, I hope he feels better soon. Tell him to take all the time he needs. We can manage for a day. Thank you so much. After I hung up, I made breakfast for the kids and got them settled with cartoons in the living room. Then I checked on David. He was still sleeping, sprawled out on his back, his face relaxed in a way I hadn't seen in forever. No tension in his jaw, no furrowed brow, just peaceful. When he finally wandered downstairs, hair messy and still in his pajamas, Emma and Tyler looked at him like he was an alien. Why aren't you at work? Emma asked, confused. I'm taking the day off, David said. And then he did something that made my heart soar. He smiled at her. A real, genuine smile. Want to build a fort? Yes! For the next hour, I watched my husband and our kids build the most elaborate blanket fort I've ever seen. David got fully into it, making silly sound effects, pretending to be a construction foreman, letting the kids boss him around about placement of pillows. At one point, Tyler bonked him on the head with a pillow by accident, and instead of just saying, "It's okay," and moving on, David grabbed a pillow and started a gentle pillow fight. The kids shrieked with laughter, and David, my husband, my David, was laughing too. Really laughing. I had to step into the kitchen because I started crying. Happy tears this time. Later that afternoon, after the kids had exhausted themselves playing and were napping, David and I sat on the couch together. "How do you feel?" I asked. "Weird," he admitted, like guilty for taking the day off, but also relieved. "I keep waiting for something bad to happen because I'm not working, but nothing bad is happening." "The world didn't end because you took a sick day." "Apparently not." He leaned his head back against the couch. "I didn't realize how tired I was until I actually let myself rest. I slept for like 5 hours straight. When was the last time I did that?" "I honestly can't remember." "Me neither." We sat in comfortable silence for a moment. Then David said, "I need to figure out a more sustainable way to deal with all of this. The vacation will help, and taking time for myself will help, but I think I might need to talk to someone. Professionally." "You mean therapy?" "Yeah. I know there's the stigma about it, especially for guys, but I don't think I can work through this on my own. I've been holding on to this for so long, and it's clearly not working." I took his hand. "I think that's really brave and really smart." "You don't think it's weak?" "David, asking for help is the strongest thing you can do. Suffering in silence isn't strength, it's just suffering." He nodded slowly. "I'll look into therapists tomorrow. Maybe someone who specializes in burnout or stress management." "I'm proud of you." "For what? Finally admitting I can't handle everything on my own?" "Yes, exactly that." That evening, we had dinner together as a family. And it felt different. David wasn't just present, he was engaged. He asked the kids questions about their day and actually listened to the answers. He made jokes. He did funny voices. At one point, Emma said, "Daddy, you're silly today." And David grinned at her. "I'm trying to be silly more often. Did you miss silly Daddy?" "Yes. Regular Daddy is boring." David looked at me over the kids' heads, and I could see the guilt flash across his face. But I shook my head slightly. We'd talk about that later. Right now, he needed to just be here. After the kids went to bed, David and I curled up on the couch together. He had his head in my lap, and I was running my fingers through his hair. I posted an update on Reddit about our conversation. I hope that's okay. "What did you say?" "That we talked, that you opened up, that we're working on solutions together." "Did you tell them about the throwing up?" "Yeah, I hope that's not too personal." "No, it's fine. Maybe it'll help someone else recognize the signs before it gets that bad." He was quiet for a moment. "Did people respond?" Hundreds of comments, so much support. People sharing their own stories, giving advice, encouraging us. That's really nice, actually. A lot of men commented saying that they'd been exactly where you are, that they'd burned themselves out trying to be strong for everyone else. I'm not special then. You're special to me, but no, you're not alone in this. That's kind of the point. This happens to a lot of people, especially during times like these. He sighed. I just wish I'd said something sooner, before it got this bad. You're saying something now. That's what matters. I'm scared, Sarah. I'm scared that I won't be able to fix this, that I'll always feel like I'm drowning. You're not always going to feel this way. It's going to take time, and it's going to take work, but you're not going to feel like this forever. How do you know? Because you're already feeling different, aren't you? Even just a little bit. He thought about it. Yeah, I guess I am. Like there's a tiny bit of light at the end of the tunnel now. That's going to get bigger, I promise. We stayed like that for a long time, just being together. No TV, no phones, just us. Thank you, David said eventually. For what? For not giving up on me, for seeing that something was wrong even when I was trying to hide it, for confronting me about it instead of just accepting my "I'm fine" answers. You're my husband. I love you. Of course I wasn't going to give up on you. I love you too, so much. I'm sorry I made you feel like I didn't love you. You didn't make me feel unloved. You made me feel scared. There's a difference. You scared me? Yes, because I could see you disappearing and I didn't know how to stop it. I'm not disappearing anymore, he said quietly. I'm coming back. It's been 3 weeks since that conversation, and I wanted to give everyone an update on how things are going. First, the good stuff. David did find a therapist. He's been going twice a week, and while he doesn't share everything they talk about, which I respect, he says it's helping. He's learning coping mechanisms for stress and anxiety, and he's starting to unpack where this idea that he had to be perfect came from. We implemented the daddy time rule. Every day from 7 to 8:30 p.m., that's David's time. No interruptions unless it's an actual emergency. He plays video games, reads, watches sports, or sometimes he just takes a long shower and then sits in our room doing nothing. At first, he felt guilty about it. He'd try to cut it short or would come out early saying he didn't need the full time, but I've been firm about it. The kids and I are fine for an hour and a half. He needs this. And it's making a difference. He's more present during the time he is with us because he's getting that decompression time. We also booked that vacation. We're going to a beach resort in 2 weeks for 5 days. Would have been a week, but that's all the time David could get off work. The kids are staying with my mom, who's thrilled to have them. David is actually excited about it, which is huge. He's been looking up restaurants and activities and asking me what I want to do. The old David would have done all that planning. The robot David wouldn't have planned anything, just shown up wherever I wanted to go. This feels like a healthy middle ground. Our sex life has improved too. David actually initiated the other night, which was the first time in months. And he was present for it, like really present, connected. It felt like being with my husband again instead of the robot version. Afterward, he said, "I'm sorry it's been so one-sided lately." And I said, "You don't have to apologize. I'm just glad you're back." The kids have noticed the change too. Emma told me the other day, "Daddy's not sad anymore." I hadn't realized he'd noticed he was sad in the first place. Kids pick up on so much more than we think they do. "No, he's feeling better now," I told her. "Good. I like happy daddy better." "Me too, sweetheart. Me too." Now, the not-so-good stuff, because I want to be honest about this. David still has bad days. Days where he wakes up and the weight of everything hits him and he has to really fight to not slip back into robot mode. Last week he had a panic attack before work, just stood in the bathroom hyperventilating, convinced something terrible was going to happen if he left the house. I called his boss and said he'd be late, and I sat with him until he could breathe normally again. He went to work eventually, but it shook both of us. The panic attack, his therapist later explained, was actually a good sign. His body was finally allowing him to feel the stress instead of suppressing it. But it didn't feel good in the moment. He still throws up sometimes. Less frequently now, but it still happens. His therapist says it might take a while for his body to recalibrate. And sometimes he still gets that blank look on his face like he's shutting down. When I see it, I call him on it immediately. "Where are you right now?" And he'll blank, refocus, and say, "Sorry, I was going into autopilot mode again." "Come back. Stay here with us." "I'm trying." "I know you are." The progress isn't linear. Some days are better than others, but the trend is upward, and that's what matters. I've also made some changes myself. I realized that I'd been putting a lot of pressure on David without meaning to. Little comments about how other husbands do this or that, or mentioning something we needed around the house and watching him immediately add it to his mental to-do list. I'm trying to be more mindful about that now, about phrasing things as "we need to" instead of "you need to," about making it clear that household stuff is a team effort, not just his responsibility. And I've started taking time for myself, too. Every Saturday morning, I go to a prenatal yoga class and then get coffee with a friend. David watches the kids, and I get to be just Sarah for a couple hours, not mom or wife. It's helped both of us realize that we're allowed to be individuals, not just parents. Someone in the Reddit comments asked if we were going to have more kids after this one, and honestly, no. 3 is it for us. David and I talked about it, and we both agreed that we're at capacity. Maybe if circumstances were different, we'd consider more, but right now, with everything we've been through, 3 feels like enough. I'm not going to lie. I'm nervous about when the baby comes. That's going to add a whole new level of stress and exhaustion to our lives. But I feel like we're better prepared now. We have a therapist in place, we have support systems, we have open communication. And most importantly, David knows he doesn't have to carry everything alone. Yesterday, David did something that really showed me how far he's come. We were sitting at dinner, and Tyler knocked over his cup of juice. It went everywhere, all over the table, dripping onto the floor, soaking the placemats. Old robot David would have immediately gotten up and started cleaning, his face blank and his movements efficient. Yesterday's David looked at the mess, looked at Tyler's panicked little face and said, "Wow, that's a disaster. Quick, Tyler, grab the paper towels. We're going to need all of them." He made it into a game. Tyler stopped being scared about making a mess and started giggling as they cleaned up together. After the kids were in bed, I hugged David. "What's that for?" he asked. "For not being a robot about the spilled juice." He smiled. "I'm trying to remember that messes aren't emergencies. They're just messes. They can be cleaned up. They're not the end of the world. And you're not responsible for preventing every mess or fixing every problem immediately." That one's harder to remember, but I'm working on it. I know you are. That's where we are now. David isn't fixed. You don't fix burnout in 3 weeks, but he's healing. He's coming back to himself, piece by piece. He smiled at me this morning, a real smile, the kind that reaches his eyes. And he said, "I'm glad I didn't run away to a tropical island alone." Me too. Although we're still going to one together in 2 weeks. Can't wait. Me neither. I'm actually looking forward to something. When was the last time I said that? It's been a while. Too long. He kissed my forehead. Thank you for not letting me become a robot permanently. Thank you for letting me help you come back. To anyone reading this who sees their partner in this story or who sees themselves in David, please don't wait as long as we did to have this conversation. If someone you love is becoming a shell of themselves, confront them about it. Don't accept "I'm fine" when you can see they're not fine. And if you're the one who's drowning, who's turned into a robot because you think that's what you have to be, please talk to someone. Your partner, a friend, a therapist, anyone. You don't have to carry everything alone. You're not weak for struggling. You're human. David spent months thinking he had to be perfect, had to be strong, had to provide and protect without ever faltering, and it nearly destroyed him. But you know what's actually strong? Admitting you need help, asking for support, being vulnerable with the people who love you. That's real strength. Not shutting down and becoming a robot. That's just survival mode. And you can't live your whole life in survival mode. David is learning that now. And slowly, day by day, he's coming back to himself. I see glimpses of the man I married more and more often. The goofy dad who makes silly voices, the husband who spontaneously suggests we order pizza, the guy who gets distracted mid-conversation because something funny occurred to him. He's still in there, and he's fighting his way back to the surface. And I'm going to be right here, holding his hand, reminding him to breathe for as long as it takes. Because that's what partners do. We don't let each other drown, even when the water gets deep, even when the current is strong, even when it feels like we'll never reach the shore. We hold on to each other. And eventually, we find our way back to solid ground. together.